I didn't think we would get to this point where now you have Putin saying that it is as tense as it was in the 1980s. Do you think we are in sort of a, I heard it called the other day, not a Cold War, but a hot peace?
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Yes, a hot piece. You gotta love Dana. Yes! All right, Hollywood is shaking in their reboots. Roseanne's new debut had over 18 million viewers, almost twice this show. But guess where Roseanne scored the highest? Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's literally the middle of America. Think about it. If TV were archery, Roseanne hit the nation's bullseye.
How could you have voted for him, Roseanne?
He talked about jobs, Jackie. He said he'd shake things up.
Have you looked at the news? Because now things are worse.
Not on the real news. Oh.
See what I mean? Hey, works. So Roseanne's a Trumpy, her sister's a resistor, but unlike most crap coming out of Hollywood, the show didn't alienate half the country, which is maybe why it scored big. Now, we've all got the family member we'd rather not talk to when the discussion turns to politics. Mine is in a cage I built out of raccoon bones. But in Roseanne's house, disagreement doesn't make you an enemy. Now, granted, Roseanne has done some very, very strange things in her past. But maybe she's trying to make up for it by creating a show that tries to pull people together rather than apart. And coming out as pro-Trump in Hollywood, that's like coming out as a fish at a bear sanctuary. But that wasn't the only reboot. Consider CNN, who said, stop it. They said, enough with foreign policy and national defense. We want a makeover. We are now the new Weather Channel. All stormy all the time. Yes. Yes. Much like Roseanne, this reboot hinges on the appeal of one woman. Now, I don't blame CNN. When things are tough, you got to go with what you know. And they know stormy, like the back and front of their hand. But CNN, at least be honest about it. When your news has gone from hard to semi-hard, that reboot needs a rebrand. Luckily, we got a sneak peek of their new lineup at CNN. It is great.
Are you ready for the most informative news programs on cable? Then you'll love CNN's all-new primetime lineup. At 8, it's the Breaking News Hour.
With host Stormy Daniels.
Need tips on the best stocks? Then don't miss the Market Report.
With Stormy Daniels at 9.
Or maybe you're hungry for the latest on Capitol Hill. At 10, it's Politics Roundup.
Hosted by Stormy Daniels.
And for you night owls, at 11 you can catch the train to Handsome Town with Jake Tapper. It's the new primetime lineup on CNN.
The hottest channel on TV.
I'd watch every minute of it. All right. Of course, that's not all CNN covers. It just feels that way at times. So we've covered reboots that work and reboots that don't. Now let's talk about what's incapable of rebooting.
I was really struck by how people said that to me, you know, mostly people in the press, for whatever reason, like, oh, you know, go away, go away. And I had one of the young people who works for me go back and do a bit of research. They never said that to any man who was not elected.
Yeah, well, because none of them called a state backwards for voting for the other guy. Hillary, she just can't reboot. It's like when you get an error message on your computer, so you shut it down, and you think the error message will be gone now, so you power up again, and the error message is still there. It's Hillary. Poor Democrats, you can't reboot her or boot her. But the challenge for the lefty media is, what do you do when the country is back on its feet, but you still want to report the bad stuff? You need people who'll say what you want them to say, even when they don't mean it. You need more than a reboot. You need a robot.
While his hesitation to say anything, to speak about this, truly was, as Gene says, just insane earlier, today,
Do you find your favorite anti-Trump talking heads too long-winded and boring? Then you need the Anti-Trump Pundit 3000. Our highly trained scientists test every Pundit 3000 for quality assurance. With just the touch of a button, this leftist media technology uses simplified rhetoric to call for 45's impeachment.
Trump colluded with Russia. He's the agent of a foreign government. He's a clumsy despot. He obstructed justice.
And Pundit 3000 is unafraid to be completely off base.
He's mentally unfit. He's physically unfit. He's an adulterer.
Well, everybody already knew about that one.
And we're ramping up production so that every cable TV show that wants an anti-Trump Pundit 3000 can have one. Additional features include Spanish mode.
El presidente es un idiota!
And grandfather hard of hearing mode.
Donald Trump is very bad. He's very bad. He's very bad. He's very bad.
So order your anti-Trump Pundit 3000 today.
Bad! Very bad! Very bad!
Warning, this product not effective at actually impeaching the president.
Well done. Fact is, all this stuff that the media keeps throwing at us, collusion, infidelity, dementia, his family, his diet, it's not computing with the citizens. What's really necessary for the press is a total reboot of the heart. If only they had one. Yes. All right. Yes. Let's welcome tonight's guest. She has more sense than a kid's piggy bank. Turning Point USA Communications Director, Candace Owens. He's produced more hits than Snoop Dogg's bong. Kevin Can Wait, executive producer Rob Long. And she once called animal control on the Easter Bunny, National Review reporter Katherine Timpf. Finally, his dinner plate can pick up all the Major League Baseball channels. Impact wrestler, my massive sidekick, Tyrus. Candace, what do you take of the CNN coverage so far of Stormy Daniels? Is it pertinent or just pernicious?
It's just interesting, in my opinion. I don't understand how this is the new platform. I think what you showed is pretty accurate. Stormy Daniels is running CNN's network as well as the Democratic Party. So she's gotten quite the raise and the promotion.
Yes.
Good for her earlier work. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Could she be, in the year of the woman 2020, running like for office, perhaps?
She would have a better shot than Hillary Clinton did.
I think see, I have a theory that Hillary and Stormy should run together. I think Bill would like that. Yeah. Poor Bill. Anyway, Rob, you are a film producer, or so you tell people at bars late at night.
That's what I said.
You were with Cheers,
yeah.
and Kevin Can Wait. There was one in between there.
There were a lot in between there,
yes.
sadly, yes.
How is Hollywood taking this Roseanne resurgence? Are they learning anything?
Well, you know, Hollywood is the place where you learn the wrong lesson all the time.
Yes.
But right now what they're doing is celebrating. I mean, that's a gigantic audience for what used to be thought of as a dead format, a multicam sitcom.
Yeah.
She brought it back. She gave ABC a huge lift. What they're all looking around for now, I hope, is like more comedies like that are relevant. I mean, look, it's wrong to decide that what made Roseanne popular is that she's pro-Trump, because the show itself is pretty mixed and balanced.
Yeah.
But it's relevant. It's about what people are doing now, and it's funny. It's not quirky. It's not hip. It's not clever. It's not snarky. It's just funny. She's a funny person. She and her sister argue in a funny way.
Yeah.
It's what America's always wanted in half-hour comedy. That's what All in the Family was.
No, it does remind me a bit of All in the Family,
yeah.
and that makes Roseanne Archie. Right?
Well, right. And remember, and All in the Family was designed to be a show where Archie learned a lesson about the progressive modern politics. And instead, everyone who watched that show was like, Archie's the hero, right?
Yeah.
He's the only guy with a job. He's the guy he bought the house. He fought World War II. He's got to sit there and listen to some absurd hippie tell him that it's okay for guys to carry a purse. I mean, Archie was a hero, and even Norman Lear says it's like when he was watching and realized that he thought, oh, I think I did this wrong.
Yeah, I screwed up.
This up, yeah.
The villain became the hero.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kat, do you think this show will heal us, and do you think Hillary will divide us? take that question however you please.
Okay, first of all, I hate most things.
Yes.
But I couldn't hate Roseanne. I really, really loved it. I watched the first episode and I thought it was really good. As for Hillary, continuing to whine about the sexism thing and saying that nobody ever told a man to go away, I don't think I've ever seen anyone, male or female, continue to have nothing to say and still be up there saying things.
Yes.
All it is the sexism thing, or the Trump is a mean bully thing, or the it's this reason that I lost, it's not my fault, or this reason that I lost, it's not my fault, this reason. Those are things you tell a therapist, not a TV camera.
Yes.
Also, it's not true.
Yeah.
They say that to every candidate who loses.
Yeah.
It's not even true. They said it to Mitt Romney. They said it to Walter Mondale. They said it to Jimmy Carter. They said it to Michael Dukakis. That's what they say to the loser.
Yeah.
Shut up.
The loser has to go away. Tyrus.
Greg.
Give me your deepest thoughts.
Better be careful.
I know.
No, I'm going to get in trouble. You know what? In your monologue, you made an interesting point, and I'd like to point out, you said citizen. And that's so true. Our president is a citizen. So he's going to make citizen mistakes. He'd have a team of science, lawyers, and a priest to cover up his background and things he's done 12, 15 years ago. And I have the inside information on why he has not responded about Stormy.
Why?
You guys want to know?
Yes.
You really want to know?
Yeah.
Because his lawyer had a non-disclosure agreement that when you sign it, you don't talk about it, because if you talk about it, you break the agreement.
Yes.
And the sad thing in all this, right here, you make the tape the date, whatever, she's going to sue her attorney.
Yes.
Stormy's going to sue her attorney because he is breaking the agreement that she signed and took funds for. So whether he is wrong or right, if the president is wrong for whatever was alleged happened, they had an agreement. His lawyer signed it. He's third party, so he didn't have to sign it. And I've done security. We had the same non-disclosure agreements with clients and stuff. She broke the agreement, and her attorney broke the agreement. And the sad thing is, while he's the only one in the news now.
Right.
She's in Nashville doing a strip thing that CNN was advertising. No, that's not making it up. She's in Nashville, charging $30 to hear the story.
By the way, our flight leaves in 2 hours.
Yeah, I know. We're taking a helicopter. But the sadness in all this is the victim, again, is going to end up being Stormy, because she's going to want to get hit with the bill for breaking the disclosure, and then her lawyer's going to hit her with a bill.
Yeah, and then there's Bill Clinton.
Yes.
He'll be hitting on her. I have a prediction that perhaps Hillary is not going away, and she will be running in 2020 because she has absolutely nothing to lose except another election, which she's already done, and it's better than making redundant speeches at $25K a pop while your husband leaves wads of Kleenex around the house because he has allergies. So I think she's going to keep going.
I hope she keeps going. I feel like I'm the only one who loves it. I mean,
I do.
Trump really should put her on salary at this point,
yes,
for his re-elect campaign.
But before we all celebrate, I mean, I hate to be the skunk at the garden party. She didn't lose by that much.
Oh, I know, it's true, yeah.
And he's not a popular president. He's
right.
the lowest, most unpopular president at this point in his term. What this guy needs is a little less of his supporters telling him how great he is and a little more tough love, but he's not getting it. That is a recipe for disaster. November will be a disaster for his party, and 2020 is going to be very, very tough. I hate to be the naysayer here, but when you all talk about how great he is, maybe it's better we give him the spanking that he clearly likes.
I think, no, you're absolutely...
Allegedly likes.
Allegedly likes. I think you're right, but I do think the gun issue is going to get people off the sofa when previously they weren't. When you have people talking about repealing the Second Amendment, that might save him. Maybe.
100%.
All right, don't you move a muscle. We got more stuff to come. Will the president find money to build his border wall? You should check under the couch. It's always good for a few bucks. He's still giving his all to get that damn wall. This week, the Washington Post reported President Trump is pushing for the U.S. military to build the wall. On Thursday, the Pentagon confirmed Trump spoke to Defense Secretary James Mattis about using defense funds to do just that. Last week, Trump signed the $1.3 trillion government spending bill into law, which included a paltry $1.6 billion for the wall, way short of the $25 billion that he wanted. He later suggested on Twitter the military could spare a few bucks, or at least I think that's what he said. He exclaimed, quote, "Build wall through M." All right. Maybe M stands for military, or maybe it's meatballs. Build a wall out of meatballs. Not the veal, though. I hate the veal. Meanwhile, officials in Orange County, California, voted to join a federal lawsuit against the state's sanctuary city laws. The law bans state and local agencies from notifying feds when immigrants in custody who may be subject to deportation are about to be released. That's crazy. For more, let's go live to the border where stunt goat Mike is testing out a wall prototype. He is the best in the business. Tyrus, I have an idea. Why don't we combine the two? If you want to live in a sanctuary city, you contribute to the border by help building the wall. No?
Yeah, I'm with that, yeah. You know, what's killing me is I just want fairness. I think that's what every American citizen asks for. So if I commit a crime, let's say in Wyoming, and I get away with it, and I run over to California and I get arrested, and it pops up on the wire that I have a warrant in Wyoming, if I was in a sanctuary city, they couldn't do anything about it.
That is true.
But I'm a U.S. citizen, so as soon as I walk out, there'll be some dudes from Wyoming going, come with us. Like, it's, if you are already committing a crime, which is if you were here without legal documentation, you're committing a crime, and you get arrested for something else, it seems fair to me that they would be waiting for you when you got out to walk your ass back to where you belong. Like, I just don't see, how you can have an argument any other way.
Yeah. Let me ask Kat, because I know you are a huge fan of the wall. You've been saying build the wall since the early 70s. So what's next? How do we proceed?
Greg, when I was a little girl, my parents told me I could get a bearded dragon if I kept my room clean.
Right.
And then I did, because they didn't think I would do it.
Yes.
And then they were like, okay, well, we'll just take you to the reptile expo to look at them.
Oh.
I still remember that, Dad. If you're watching, you owe me a lizard. But the point is, I know Trump promised the wall, but it doesn't seem like funding is going to be possible. So we need to at least explore other ways to get border security and fix the immigration system other than a wall.
I think wall can be part of it, Candace. Sanctuary cities drives you crazy because it's a lawless idea that depends on the lawful to obey, because you have to have border agents that reduce the bad guys coming in, so you can then have this wonderful sanctuary city where everybody picks flowers together.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm wondering if we have enough funding to sort of build a wall around California at this point, because they've just become a disaster.
Except for our California viewers.
Yeah.
Our California viewers are wonderful
They can
people.
come. We'll rescue them. Exactly.
Yes, we'll pull them out.
Yeah, we'll use our military funding to rescue them, build a wall around the rest of California, and let Hollywood and its politicians celebrate the disasters that they're creating all around the country.
Rob, you live in California sometimes?
I do.
Is it turning, when you have the sanctuary, if you have the sanctuary city and this lawlessness, aren't we going to see a culmination where California ends up like the Road Warrior meets Lord of the Flies?
That's what it is now.
Yes.
So you're clear. No, look, I mean, California's got a huge economy. It's like the would be the sixth biggest country in the world if it was a country, so you can't really build a wall around it. But you can't have sanctuary cities aren't allowed to have foreign policy unless it's Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
Because that's really what the federal government's supposed to do. The surprising thing about the left is that they don't want the federal government to be restrained in any way. At all, except in the cases of border security, the one thing that's actually in the Constitution the federal government's supposed to be doing.
Yes.
So most conservatives are in favor of all sorts of federalism and all sorts of devolving power to states, except for the stuff like, you know, the militia, the army, and the borders and stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's what the country's supposed to do.
Yeah, this is what matters. I have a real working example of a sanctuary. There's only one sanctuary, really, a nude beach. right? In order for a nude beach to survive without the infiltration of malicious creeps and perverts, you have hardcore security who happen to be dressed and armed. Don't ask me why I know this.
Okay, because
all I know is I spent one afternoon cleaning up a nude beach.
Okay.
Because I was caught climbing a fence.
I'm stopping you right now because
I was in high school.
First of all, no. The creepy, strange guys are the ones on the damn beach. No one has ever drove by a nude beach and seen an attractive woman on the nude beach. It's a bunch of guys fitting your description, looking around, waiting for women to show up. It is literally a cold sausage party with no women anywhere near.
There should be, but you see my point. In order for it to exist, you need armed people to keep freaks out.
Well, or you just need to be, truth. There should be two kinds of nude beaches and the people you want to see nude beaches.
Yes, yes.
But I'm really more interested in the bearded dragon.
Yeah, it's a lizard.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know what it is. I'm just thinking that, like.
If you want to see a bearded dragon, go to a nude beach.
That's right.
I tried to stop him.
I was going there.
You realize the rest of this show
You did.
I did. I'm sorry. You know what I did? I took the carpool lane to your joke.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's good.
Yes, I sped
Now
past
we're
the
stuck
toll
in
booth.
Greg's carpool lane.
All right. I'm going to shut up now because the other stories coming up are great. Coming up, it's the cheerleader scandal no one is talking about. Mainly because it's not really a scandal, but it's very interesting. All right, she's filing a suit over a suit. I speak of a New Orleans Saints cheerleader, aren't we all, who's suing the team after being fired for posting a photo of herself in a one-piece outfit on Instagram. Bailey Davis, seen here, apparently violated team rules. No nude, semi-nude, or lingerie posts. It's the same rules I have for my ferrets, by the way. She was also accused of violating the team's strict anti-fraternization policy for attending a party with Saints players. Apparently, the same policy demands cheerleaders must leave, get this, leave a restaurant if a player walks in.
We cannot speak to the players anything past good game or hello at an appearance or game. And if we're in a restaurant and they come in, we have to leave the restaurant. If we're there first, we still have to leave.
The injustice. So if she's sitting in Applebee's and the punter walks in, it's, sorry, miss, you'll have to take those extreme fajitas to go. For a punter. He's not even a real player. just kicks the ball. Stupid punter. Yes, punters, send me your letters. Her suit claims all these rules are gender discrimination and should be changed. The team says they're confident their workplace rules will withstand legal scrutiny. Meanwhile, in other NFL news, a dog is trying out for the Carolina Panthers. Subpar. Kat, you are a member of the opposite sex. Is this discrimination or is this just common sense?
How is this common sense?
I believe it could be, but you go ahead.
Being a cheerleader sounds like the worst job in the world.
Why?
Well, you got to smile a lot.
That's true.
You have to exercise. And your entire livelihood is cheering for a bunch of dudes who apparently you don't even know.
Yes, or can date.
You don't even know. They don't even know these people. I thought the only reason that they were able to be so enthusiastic was because those were their friends.
Yeah, no. It's like the separation of church and state, but with pom-poms.
I feel like this is a really bad time to announce that I was a cheerleader all throughout high school.
Yes.
So I'm not going to announce that. But I will say this, and I'm not going to take a side here, but I do want to say that I'm really tired of the theory of women agreeing to something and then going back on it. Like, was that not in the contract when she signed it? She agreed to it, which I think the rules are ridiculous, and she shouldn't have agreed to it in the first place. But there seems to be this thing now where women can sign contracts and then just go, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
I disagree with everything.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, too. So you have to start taking responsibility and reading the contracts and understanding it, and that's my position on it. She read it. It's saying that she ever agreed to it is what's insane, in my opinion.
Maybe she really want to be a cheerleader.
And this is the point that Candace is making: is if she didn't sign it, there'd be 1,000 women in line who would sign it. And Rob, I think this story hits on the science that the left denies. There's a biological attraction between sexes that is completely organic, and it often overtakes the goals of a business. So hence, it's not really discrimination. You're keeping men and women apart so it doesn't create a problem on the field.
I guess I don't really get it. This is news to me. Like, if football players can't hang out with cheerleaders, what's the point of being a football player or a cheerleader? Right? Isn't that the whole point of it?
Tyrus, okay, you're from New Orleans. You played football.
I'm from California. I live in New Orleans. I played football, and I had to follow and adhere to these same rules. And they're great rules, and I'll tell you why. Because do you know how many lawsuits there would be?
Yes.
There would be so many issues of inappropriateness. When you're on the football players, you're a certain level, there's a lot of aggressiveness and stuff like that. These rules are in place, and they're going to be upset to protect the cheerleaders from being around a bunch of sweaty men who are button heads and we're being aggressive, and it stops us from walking over there saying something inappropriate or treating inappropriate, or maybe a married guy has an issue or whatever, and this is to protect the cheerleaders. They're separate. It's not something you can that's not there for you. They're there for the fans. And this rule has been in place for a lot of years, and you don't have to accept it. You don't have to be a cheerleader for this sports organization, but that's across the board. It's like that. Even in college, it was like that. Yeah. It was frowned upon.
Just so you know, Greg didn't hear anything except sweaty mad bunny heads.
Yes.
His brain turned off at that point.
There's a point, and it goes back to what you were talking about. It is there for a very good reason.
Yeah, and you know what? Okay, Thomas Sowell has a great new book out. I think it's called Disparities and Discriminations. And he talked about in the previous century, early 1900s, they segregated Irish Protestants and Irish Catholics because of the friction, the violence, in order to maximize profits. They didn't want these two groups fighting. So it sounds like discrimination, but nobody noticed it because the pigment was the same. Then in factories, they separated men and women based on a similar reason, however, to maximize efficiency. But it wasn't about friction. It was about fraternizing. That if you have, if you keep, a boss is just saying, if you keep them separate, you get more work out of them. And that's a universal truth, right?
But the left isn't against that. The left is also always enforcing codes like that.
Yeah.
The left does like the idea that you got to have a protected class, the women as cheerleaders who need to be protected and have special rights and all that stuff. So it isn't really a left or right issue. The actual Puritans of today are not Puritans. They're the left.
That's a very good point. And on that note, we must end this segment and move on to another one. Pot-infused beer is on the way. Talk about high life. Am I right? Please kill me. All right, what if we rot infusing beer with pot? The guy who created the recipe for Blue Moon beer is now working on a line of marijuana-infused drinks. They'll be coming out this fall, but will only be available in Colorado. Tough break for you, Oregon. Anyway, the new beer will contain no alcohol. The pot-infused formula is supposed to get you to feel intoxicated without getting the actual hangover. Man, if we gotten soft, we can't handle hangovers anymore. So we're now putting pot in everything, including beer. I long for the good old days when beer was beer and pot was pot. And that time I thought the shag rug was a delicious bed of Cheetos. We've all been there, little fella. Rob, you and I in the green room, we got into an argument over this. You love infusing stuff with stuff.
Yeah, right now I'm completely infused with gin.
But it's pure gin.
Well, gin itself is vodka infused with herbs and botanicals. So it's like I'm like one of those. I'm a turducken.
Yes.
But it's like me stuffed with gin, stuffed with juniper.
But botanicals is just a nice way of saying shrubs.
You listen. You can call it anything you want. The point
I think
is,
I will.
I could not get through this hour unless I was infused with gin. Just so you know.
I can't see this, Tyrus. It just seems so immoral.
Is it too high?
Is it too? Yes.
Me, I'll come after you and your family. Who did it? Sorry about the short joke.
All right, it's okay.
Listen, Germany did a thing where they infused honey and marijuana. They had the bees pollinate, but it's honey. It's sweet.
Yeah.
And it's an organic edible, the first of its kind. Beer by itself isn't as, when you first time you ever have a beer in your life, it's a horrible experience typically. They let you drink it, you're like, oh, this is terrible. And you kind of, as you grow older, you grow into it because beer is not necessarily a wonderful taste. If you've ever had a bad inhale on a pipe, not that I have, or a thing and got marijuana in your mouth, it's not a good taste.
No, it's terrible.
So this is probably going to taste, allegedly. I'm no scientist, but I'll take an educated guess that this is probably going to taste terrible.
Yeah, it is. But I don't understand this, Candace. Why do we have to put pot into everything?
I don't know. I feel like it's a personality trait, to be honest with you, that people just like to mix things all the time. Everyone becomes a chemist, but it's better than Four Loko. It's better than Tide Pods. So
yes.
Nothing's better than Four Loko. Don't talk about Four Loko like that.
And don't combine that with pods. What are those? What are they called? Tide Pods?
Tide Pods.
I feel like an 80-year-old man. What are these Tide Pods?
Yeah,
things?
that's what the kids are doing nowadays. So.
This is what I worry about is getting rid of hangovers. If you get rid of hangovers, you ruin the human race because you'd have no stopgap to keep from drinking.
Right.
You know?
It's the only reason I don't have 11 drinks every day.
Exactly. When do you stop at?
10. I wouldn't. I just don't get it. I wouldn't want a marijuana beer.
Yeah.
Because I drink beer to relax, not to have a panic attack.
Yes.
And like turn away all my family members and friends with my talk of the Illuminati. So this is just not for me. But I guess capitalism and legalization, I support both of those.
Right. And this
so I kind of have to support
innovation.
This.
It's innovation.
But this is the same guy. This is the Blue Moon original. And he's the same guy who convinced all these horrible, frat bros to take a slice of orange and put it in their beer too. So this guy's already a war criminal as far as I'm concerned.
Can I elaborate on why hangovers are so important? Because we had Jordan Peterson on last week, and I believe that the hangover is the perfect distillation of future consequences based on present behavior. For example, we talked about 2 Gregs last week. If present Greg tonight cares about tomorrow Greg, then he will only have 3 wines instead of 13, to your point. Because you are 2 different people. Today and tomorrow is 2 different people. Why would I want to torment future Greg? Present Greg should think about future Greg. And the only way you can do that is with a hangover. Correct?
Well, the hangover is the punishment. It's the tax you pay for today's whatever pleasure.
Yeah.
Although milk thistle is really good, by the way.
Milk
thistle is like really, really good.
Interesting. Well, I'll forget about that. Still to come, Sean Penn's written a book, technically. Like a noxious blast of in-flight diarrhea. Actor Sean Penn released a novel on Tuesday titled Bob Honey Who Just Do Stuff. That makes no sense. I mean, that is just bad. According to Penn, the book is a Trump-era satire. I'd love to read you some excerpts, but I just don't think I can do it justice. Luckily, I know a guy who can.
Page 99. While the privileged patronize this pickle as epithet to the epigenetic inequality of equals, Bob smells a cyber-assisted assault emboldened by right-brain Hollywood narcissists.
I can't get enough. More.
Page 94. Silly questions of Cherry's save serve to sever any last impression Bob might have had of Spurley as a serious citizen.
One more, please.
Page 125. There is pride to be had where the prejudicial is practiced with precision in the trenchant triage of tactile terminations.
I think I could safely say that sucks. All right, Rob, what he was doing was he had a thesaurus and he was thinking that alliteration is clever.
Yeah.
He's like a 14-year-old who just discovered that if you take words that start with the same consonant or vowel, it's interesting to him.
14 is a very generous number for you to pick. Lou knew that he knew that it wasn't just on the teleprompter. He's not just like he's doing the news there. Okay. Yeah, look, this is great, crazy stuff, but I love the idea that it's a Trump-era satire, which means, the guy's been president about a year, a little bit over a year, which means he's only spent a year on it. I mean, 5 more minutes is what we say in the business. Like when something comes out too soon, and your first version of the jokes, it's 5 more minutes on that. Just you put it in a drawer, write it, and then put it in a drawer, and then take it out like a year later.
Yes.
6 months later, and then reread it.
Yes, exactly.
And
but I don't think he can read.
I don't. Yeah. Well, that actually goes hand in hand with not being able to write.
Yeah. You have first read, then write. Kat, you are a published writer. You write for National Review. Were you ever this bad, even when you started?
No.
Yeah.
I think that the name of this book should have been "I Have No One in My Life Who Loves Me," because if he did, then they would not have allowed this to happen.
Yes.
If I ever tried to write garbage like this, my father and my friends would lock me in my room and not allow me to come out until I either agreed to say no or agreed to go to rehab or both.
Candace, this is what happens when you come to something later in life. Your arrogance is inversely proportional to your actual experience, like with politics and with writing.
Right.
What did you think of that?
I just thought he was a lot of marijuana beers in.
Yeah.
And thought he could do it. And look, the title tells you enough. You can't even read it. There's nothing there. So
that is actually when the title suggests a severe problem. A real, it does,
stop at the title.
Yeah,
that's enough.
Because you probably had other choices.
Yeah, severe problem.
It's a severe problem.
Just do stuff.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean anything, Tyrus. What does it mean to you?
I mean, maybe that was the point. Maybe he was like, Sean Penn, I'm going to write a book with words, and they're going to buy it because I'm Sean Penn. I mean, at this point, I'm about to grab a dictionary, rip the cover off, and it says Tyrus Says, and put it out there because it's kind of the same damn thing. Like, I mean, either that or he was, drunk as hell, saw Shakespeare, and was like, I could do that.
Yeah. That's how Shakespeare started.
Yeah. Except like he was literally
somebody before Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Like Chaucer?
Yeah.
Was he before Shakespeare?
He was before Shakespeare.
He saw Chaucer and he says, I could do that, and that's how Shakespeare started.
Yeah. Oh.
And then you just follow that all the way through to like Edgar Allan Poe and Norman Lear.
If you had
that's your pantheon of Chaucer, Shakespeare, Edgar Allan Poe, and Norman Lear.
That made no sense.
Yeah.
Greg, if you were stuck in hell and you had to either read that cover to cover or you had to read What Happened by Hillary Clinton cover to cover, which are you picking? It's a tough question.
It is a tough question.
Right.
I know it isn't really. What happened? Because it's funnier.
Yeah, what happened?
It's actually a better satire.
Her book would be What Happened, and his book is What Ate My Brain. And do we have one final reading from Lou from the book?
Page 142. His dreams desert, daylight diffusion, dictated disturbances in the void of visual detail.
Well, he makes anything terrible sound wonderful, including that drivel. Don't go anywhere. Final thoughts next. Yay. I'll see you Monday on the 5 at 5 p.m. Eastern. Final thoughts, Candace.
Just thank you for having me, and everybody can head over. I'm finally verified on Twitter after a long and arduous battle. Head over to my Twitter at RealCandaceO to see why they didn't want to give me that check mark.
It's very entertaining. All right, Rob.
Happy Good Friday to everybody. Happy Easter when you probably watch this. If you want the best in podcasts for the center right, go to ricochet.com.
Oh, very good. Tyrus? What do you got? Don't you have something to plug? Aren't you, like, going to be beating up somebody this weekend?
Yeah. I'm going to beat up Greg this weekend.
That's good. Kat, final thought?
Instead of the Easter bunny, it should definitely be the Easter bearded dragon lizard.
Aww. Do they lay eggs?
Nah, I don't know.
Yeah. Lizards lay eggs.
Yeah, they do. Reptiles lay eggs.
Yeah, there you go. You don't know anything about lizards. This is all a big lie.
That's because my dad wouldn't let me get one. Did you hear that, Dad? I know you're watching, Dad Timpf. I know you're watching.
All right. Thanks to Candace Owens, Rob Long, Kat Timpf, Tyrus, Lou Dobbs, studio audience. I'm Greg Gutfeld. Love you, America.
He's an adulterer. Very bad. Very bad. Very bad. Very bad. Very bad. Very bad.